Imagine waking up and your WordPress blog already has a brand new post written by AI, complete with a featured image and published automatically. Today, I'm going to show you how to build this full automation using n8n, ChatGPT, and WordPress. It's fast, it's simple, and anyone can set it up. So let's get started. Before we build anything, let me show you what the final outlook looks like. I'll click execute workflow and watch this. Now n8n is learning every step for us. It's going to get a fresh news story from newsdata.io, send the title and description to ChatGPT, generate a full blog post. It's going to create a featured image with the blog post and publish everything straight to WordPress. And if I open my website, at the moment you see it has nothing, but if I refresh this website, you see that we have a new article with the image created for us. You can be very creative when creating or providing the prompt for the image, but for now, let's leave that aside. But it has created a new post. And if I open this new post, you see that this is a post that has been created using OpenAI and our workflow using n8n. This is exactly what we are going to build. Before we jump in, let me know in the comments, what kind of content would you like me to automate next? It could be blog post, social media content, or anything to do with email automation or any automation in general. Your comments help me choose what to build next. All right, so let's start everything from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and create a new workflow. I already created this, but you can go ahead and create a new workflow for yourself. To get started, I'm going to start with a trigger node. And the trigger node is the node that is going to be used to trigger our automation. In this case, because I want to automate this to be happening once a day, the best trigger node that I can use is the scheduler node. So I'm going to search for scheduler. I'm going to select the schedule node, and here you can select the trigger interval. In my case, I want this to be run once a day at midnight. So here, days between triggers, I'm just going to say 1, and trigger at hour midnight works for me. And here you can specify the minute that you want this to be triggered. After doing that, the next node that I need to add is the HTTP node. And here I want to get data from newsdata.io. So to do that, first of all, what you need to do is add an HTTP node. Here for the URL, you need to go to newsdata.io. And if you're logging in for the very first time, you can, after signing up, you can go here. And once you go there, you can now go to a dashboard. And when you go to dashboard, on the left-hand side, you'll see there is API key. You have to click there. And if you're using the free version, you will have a default API key here. You can click that API key to copy it. Once you've done that, come to the HTTP node that you created. And the URL for this one is going to be https:/newsdata.io/api/1/latest. You can also get this in the documentation for newsdata.io. On authentication, we're going to select none, but here we need to click on send request parameters. Here we're going to specify the API key, and we're going to add the API key that we copied from newsdata.io. After adding this, we're going to add another parameter, and the name for this parameter is going to be language. And for language, because I want our articles in English, I'm going to add en. Another one should be size. How many posts do I want to be fetched? So for this one, I'll just add 1. And you can also add the Q, which is very important, which stands for query. And for the query, since I want AI related articles, I'm going to use this query right here. So I want anything related to OpenAI or Anthropic or Google DeepMind, etc., etc. You can also use and if you want the condition to be true for both the elements. Let's say if I want OpenAI and Anthropic at the same time, I can say OpenAI and Anthropic. So anything related to OpenAI and Anthropic will match the query parameters or will match the request. So once I've added that, I can execute this workflow. And now you can see that it has returned our article. So the title for this article is MIT and Microsoft to support data correction on damages caused by Cyclone Detour. So this is now getting an article from newsdata.io. The next thing that I want to add is now an OpenAI model so that we pass in the title and description, and then we get a freshly created article. So for here, I'm going to choose message a model. Here, I'm going to select the model that I'm interested in. In my case, I want to use ChatGPT 4.1 mini. For the prompt, you can be creative with the prompt, but in my case, I'm going to use this prompt. So here I'm saying you are an expert blog writer. Using the information below, write a full blog post. The output should be in Markdown. I will tell you why I want my output in Markdown. The title should be the title that I got from newsdata.io as well as the description. And here I'm just providing the instructions or the guidelines that the AI has to follow when creating this article. For example, the introduction, it has to be 2 to 3 sentences, and then the requirements, the minimum should be 600 words. You can increase this, and we are saying no quotes or sources needed, etc., etc. After doing that, I'm going to execute this step. And now you can see that our content has been created, and this content is in Markdown form. So the reason I'm getting this in Markdown, of course, most of the times it will retain the article in Markdown, or even if you don't specify. But then the reason that I want this to be specifically in Markdown is because I want to add another node, and this is called Markdown. So what this node is going to do is going to convert our Markdown to HTML, which is a better output to be posted in WordPress. So here I'm going to select Markdown to HTML, and I'm going to add the content that was generated. And if I execute this step, you see that now we had Markdown code, and now we have HTML code or HTML items for the same content. So that is good for us. The next step that we are going to follow now is for us to create an image. So to do that, I'm going to add another node. And for this node, it's going to be the same OpenAI node. But then instead of message a model, I'm going to choose generate an image. So with this, we are using DALL-E. So for the prompt, let's look at this prompt. So I'm saying create a clean, modern, professional thumbnail image based on this title. So we are providing the title that we got from newsdata.io. So the title is MIT and Microsoft to support data correction damages caused by Cyclone D1. So you can be creative in as far as how you want the image to be created, but I'm going to leave it here for now. So after executing this, it should give us an image. So yes, we have this image in binary format. This image, it looks AI generated, which is something I don't like personally. In another video, I'm going to show you how you can maybe maintain the same image that comes with the newsdata.io API. So for example, if you go to newsdata.io, there is an image that is retained with every article. So you can use that image for the article, or you can recreate something similar, but then something that doesn't look AI generated. I think that would be much better for an article. After we've generated the image, we want to edit the image. So I'm going to call an edit image node. And here what we want to do is to resize this image. So here we're going to use the edit image node to resize the image dimensions so that it fits the recommended image size for a featured image in WordPress. So the recommended one is 1200 by 630. This should work for with most of the WordPress themes. I'm going to execute this, and now you can see even the image size has reduced. So here, this is the dimension that we want. The next step, so we have an image, we have the article generated. The next step for us is to upload this image to our WordPress website first before we use the image when creating a post. So first of all, you start uploading the image to your WordPress site. After you've uploaded the image, then you can use that image when creating your post. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to add another HTTP node. So with this HTTP node, what I need to do is to go to my WordPress website. Now here, I'm going to go to the dashboard. In the dashboard, what I want to do is to go to users. Under users, I want to select the user that I want. Now here, what you need to do is to go down to where we have application passwords. Here, you're going to need to provide the application password name. In this case, I'm going to say n8n tutorial. All right. And then I can click on add application password. So here you can see now it has provided an application password for us. We're going to copy this and use it in our n8n HTTP node. So if I go back here, what I need to do is go under authentication, click predefined credential type, and then you see that we have now a new selection here. So select WordPress API. Under WordPress API, you can select this and you see a create new credential option. So you click that. Once you've done that, you need to provide the username and password, the application password, and then the link to your WordPress website. In this case, what we need is starting from here to here. I'm going to copy this, or if you're not sure, you can go to the home page of your website and then copy this whole URL. I'm going to paste it here. And then for the username, I need the username of the specified user or the user that we are using. In this case, the username for this one is Gomez. So I'm going to take that username, and then we are going to use the application password that was provided. Don't use this application password because I'm going to revoke its access later on, but you can create your own application password. So I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm going to save this. If the connection has been done, you see that it will say connection tested successfully. If it has failed, then you get an error here. You can rename this to something that is descriptive enough. So in my case, I'm going to say WordPress tutorial. So I do remember. And once you've done that, save this, and you can go ahead and close this one. Once you've done that, you see that we have this selected. So the next thing to do is now go ahead and provide the URL and parameters that we can use to post our image. To do that, you need to use a specific endpoint to post an image to WordPress. So let's see. Under URL, you're going to add your base URL, which is your URL for the WordPress website. But then at the end, after your URL, you're going to add slash WP JSON slash WP slash version 2 slash media. So let's look at this. So this is my base URL, but then we have wp.json slash wp slash v2 slash medium. You can also cross-check this in the WordPress API documentation. Once we've done that, we have the connection ready, we have the URL ready. What we need now to do is to add certain headers for this to work. So I'm going to click on send headers. Here we need to send this one header for this to work. So we're going to add content disposition, and then the value for the content disposition should be attachment, and then we have a semicolon here, file name equals image.png. So the name of this image, you can change it to anything, if I'm not wrong, but this can be changed to anything, and that will translate to the name of that image. But if I'm wrong, you can comment this in the comments section below. I haven't fully tested this, but I think that's how it works. So once you've added this header, the next thing that we need to add is the image. So I'm going to click on send body here. Under send body, what we want is to send the binary field. So I'm going to, here under body, we want to use the, here under body content type, we want to select n8n binary file because we already have a binary file. And then the input data field name by default is data. You can confirm this from here. So data, and then once we've added that, that's it for this node. If I execute this step, let's see if our image is going to be added. All right, so now you can see that it has added our image, and it has returned this ID and the URL for the image that we can click if we want to access the image directly. And yeah, so that's it. And then you can see here we have image 12.png because we used this as image name, but this has added an image to our WordPress. We will confirm later, but I just know that if the post is successful, then the image has been added. After adding the image, then the next step is for us to upload or to add now the content to WordPress. So for that, I'm going to add another HTTP node, that one, and here the same base URL that we pasted last time. Right, so let me get the base URL. All right, so the URL is going to be the same base URL, and then we have WP hyphen JSON again, and then slash WP slash V2. Instead of media, now we have post because we want to post an article. After doing this, let's change the method to post. After we've changed the method to post, under authentication, let's choose predefined credentials. And here we're going to select the WordPress API predefined credential, and we are going to select the credential that we created. So I think I created this one. And the next step for us is to click on send body. And here we want the form data, and we want to add two things. So the first one is the status, because we want this to be published, but you can remove and make the status as draft. There are a number of statuses that you can use. You can check that in the documentation. But maybe a better option would be to let it to draft, so you go and review the article before you even publish it. So I'm going to add another parameter, and this parameter is going to be featured image. And for the featured image, what we want to use is the ID of the already posted image. So in our case, it's 138. And another thing that we need to add is the title. So for the title, we want to use the title of our article. So this we can get from the this HTTP request. So if you remember, this is our title, so we're going to add it here. And then another thing that we want to add is now the content. So I'm going to add another parameter, and we are going to call this one content. So content, and then the value for this content is going to be the one returned from our markdown. So remember, we have this content which is in markdown, but then we have this data which is the HTML version. So that's the one that we want to post. All right, so I'm going to execute this and see what happens. Right, so you can see that the article has been created. So we're going to go back to our WordPress website, and you remember we had this first article, but I'm going to refresh this, and you can see we have a freshly created article, and it says MIT and Microsoft to support data correction on damages caused by Cyclone D12. This is the latest one. I'm going to click this, and you're going to see that this is the article that was created. There are a number of things that we need to consider uh, to make this production ready. So let me just highlight those things as a bonus. So number one, if you look at this newsdata.io, it retains, at least it tries to retain the things that you provided in this query parameter. So in my case, I'm assuming this will retain only AI related articles. But then there are times that this may not retain AI related articles. So I would add a check maybe before this one and say it should check if that article is AI related. I would use ChatGPT as well to check to categorize the article as AI related or non-AI related article. That would be the first step that I would add to this workflow. The second problem that this would come up with is when you're creating articles, it may use the same article again and again. Like in this case, you see that if we go here, you see that this article was already created in the first time, or the first time that we were testing our workflow. So that would be bad. So what I would do is I would offload this process to another workflow. So that workflow will only be responsible for coming up with article ideas from newsdata.io. And then this can be added to a table in Airtable. That table should have a status table, and it should show that this article is already uploaded or not. So that status should change. Another thing is when adding to Airtable, it should check the ID of the article. If it is coming from newsdata.io, it comes with an ID. So it should check if that ID already exists. If that ID does not exist, then it should add it. If it does exist, then it should leave out that article. So this would avoid duplicates. The final thing is newsdata.io comes with an image. So instead of maybe generating an image using AI as well, I would just prefer to use the same image that is generated by newsdata.io. So those are some of the changes that I would tweak to this workflow. Otherwise, let me know in the comment section below what are some of the things you would want to tweak to this workflow. I'm going to share this workflow, but if you really need it, just let me know in the comment section below. Just comment something like workflow, and I'll be sure to share this workflow with you. Until next time, let me know what you want me to create for the next video. And if this was helpful, feel free to subscribe to the channel. That really helps the channel. Thank you very much. See you next time.